Hey, testing audio. One, two, three.
Hi,
Ha-
testing.
Success.
Nice.
Hat on indoors. You're a madman.
Oh yeah, I haven't. My hair is crazy right now.
You good to go though?
Yeah, all good.
Cool. Theme song plays. Dun, and I drink water.
I can also drink water.
uh,
Sure.
Hello and welcome to Hello We Don't Talk, Let's Talk, the show where I, Christopher Watt, reconnect with old friends. And today we have the calming presence of Cheke Devendra. Cheke, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Happy to have you. It's been a while since we've seen each other. Probably, again, as I've mentioned to like three previous guests, just like at a house party for someone.
Yeah.
So Chega, let's just start it nice and simple. How are you doing today?
Today, pretty good. Woke up at like 10:30, so no complaints. Um,
Just a nice lazy Sunday.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, typical pattern for a weekend on for you.
Mm, yeah. Going to London today. Have to pick up a suit for a wedding, so that should be
Ooh,
fun.
fancy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
am I allowed to ask whose wedding it is?
It's Derek, my boyfriend's sister's wedding.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Well, congratulations to her.
yeah, should be fun. It's been a bit crazy, weddings and COVID, of
Oh yeah,
course, but yeah.
real real mixed bag of events there.
Hmm.
Uh, have you been to any weddings previously during COVID? I know Mark got married.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
Mark's wedding.
you
I
got yourself a
was
new
there for
suit
that.
between them.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, big money, Chanka.
Not really. Well, I didn't wear a suit for that wedding,
I see.
but I kind of have to for this one because there's only like 15 people and I'm sitting right at the parents' table and
Got to make
kind
a
of
good
have to wear a
impression.
suit. Yeah.
Have you met your partner's parents beforehand?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, was that a nerve-wracking experience the first time, or was it nice and eased in?
It was pretty chill. They're all super nice. Yeah. I
Wonderful.
I was I was nervous, but yeah, it was fine.
So as like an estimate, I'm probably going to say that the last time we saw each other was like 2014, 2015. Um, and
Yeah.
even while we were both going to the same university, we did outside of first year. I don't think we saw each other that often. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
just like fill
Mhm.
in the gaps for me between like let's say first year and now.
Ooh, okay.
What has your life been like?
I was well, university. I think I finished in 2015. I took an extra semester in the summer because I wasn't ready to graduate. I was like, I need more time to decide. So I took an extra semester and then I had about 4 months after that. I didn't do much. I had like part-time jobs, traveled a little bit, not like anything crazy, just with friends. I think in that my parents were in China, so I visited them. I think we went to Cuba with like Mark and Amber and Najim. That was fun.
Type.
But yeah, I think I did 3 trips. I can't remember what the third one was in that year after graduating. And then after that, I started working. I got a job at Labstat. That's where Nick works.
Yeah. Previous
Yeah,
guest of the show, Nick Whiffen, who you helped get,
yeah.
who yeah, you helped get the job that he's at now.
Hmm. Yeah, so I was there for about 2.5 years, and then I recently got a new job where I've been at since. Yeah,
Doing what in particular?
it's in a quality lab for Johnson and Johnson in Guelph.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So it's not as much lab work as I used to do, but more quality oriented. But been there for about 2 years now as well.
Liking it?
Yeah, it's good. Good.
Uh,
Yeah, that's been about it, honestly, in terms of school and work.
that's plenty.
Yeah.
So as far as like quality on Johnson Johnson, because like there's a lot of products that fall under that sort of branding.
Yeah.
Um, what in particular does your job entail?
So the Guelph site manufactures all of Canada's Tylenol products, essentially.
Hmm,
So all of the cough and cold medicines, the children's Tylenol. There are like 50 different products that come out of there. But quality, essentially all parts of quality, the lab takes care of. Like
Gotcha.
stuff coming in, finished products, stability products. It's a lot of chemistry, essentially.
And what was your degree in?
A biomedical science.
Okay, so it aligns pretty nicely with
Yeah, a little bit.
some of your
It's as
schooling.
good.
As good as anything else, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Couldn't have asked for more alignment, I guess.
Um, the three sort of trips that you took abroad after you had graduated, how did you decide on those destinations?
Well, China was pretty easy. My
Yeah,
parents
family there.
worked there, yeah. So they were like, you can come up. I had never been, so that was
Mhm.
fine. Um, Cuba, I think, well, we just wanted to go away
Yeah,
with
so
friends.
so just like popular vote as a group of people
Yeah,
tends to
yeah.
go.
And it was cheap. So coming out of
Oh
university,
yeah, you got to squeeze every penny.
yeah, yeah. But it was good. I had a good time. And I still can't remember what the last one was. Oh, it's gonna bug me. I'm gonna have to look it up.
So you mentioned your partner. How did you two meet?
Tinder? Yes, Tinder.
Very well.
As is
Uh,
this the case with most people
yeah,
nowadays.
for sure. Um, were you on the application for a while, or was it like a pretty quick turnaround? Did you have a lot of hits and misses in terms of like dating,
Not
online dating?
really. Not really. I probably like I didn't go on a lot of dates. Maybe
Yeah,
like four. But I wasn't on it a lot either. It was just on and off. So yeah, pretty quick, I guess.
nice,
Hmm.
quick and painless.
Yeah,
The dream.
lucked out.
Yeah. So for our first segment here, we have a little thing called Maybe Do's, which is definitely not a ripoff of another podcast idea called Maybe Don't, where what's something that you've experienced that you would recommend other people maybe do, and then something that you've gone through that you advise people to maybe not do.
Hmm. Maybe do. Well, recently, I've been playing lots of indie couch co-op sort of games that have been lots of fun.
Nice.
It's been
Console
great
based or
to
PC based that you put up on the big screen?
both.
Hmm.
Um, we've been, well, Derek and I have been playing lots of, what's it called? Overcooked. You
Oh,
probably heard of
that's a
it.
lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good, so good. But yeah, there are tons of games out there that are just really easy to get into and fun, and you can get a whole group going. So usually it's just the two of us,
Mhm.
maybe my siblings, especially with COVID. Can't see
Yeah, for
anyone.
sure.
But it's a good fun thing to do with people, and
Oh yeah, it gets you talking.
it's not
It
yeah,
provides
it's
like a
not
nice sort of thing to do with your hands while while you're doing
exactly,
that.
and it's not like intense gaming where you need to have skill or
Ooh,
anything like
not the way I play
that.
Overcooked.
That's true. Yeah.
um, d- was it your partner that pitched the idea of like co-op video gaming that brought you into it, or was that something that you've always had an interest in? Because I didn't take you for big, like
Yeah,
huge on
no,
games.
yeah. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I still don't have a console, but
Mhm.
yeah, Derek had a console and we were like, we should try playing games together.
Smart,
And then
good
Overcooked came
partner
out. And
activity.
yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
then,
yeah.
yeah, also Stardew Valley. I've been playing that a lot.
Ooh, that's a lot of
It's
fun.
fun. Yeah.
really nailing the hits to get through this quarantine.
I know, especially for me because I never used to play games as
Mhm.
such, and then it's just like, what have I been missing?
uh,
The don'ts.
yeah,
Is
the
that the next
don'ts.
part? Don'ts. Uh, let's see. In 2016, I went camping, got Lyme disease. I would suggest no one does
Uh,
that. That was bad.
avoid ticks at all costs. Then is your
Yep,
is your
ticks are
is your
bad.
maybe don't.
Definitely a no. Mm.
Uh, I'm not so like I'm aware that it's like a big hazard regarding like ticks and stuff, and like as far as an illness goes, it's like pretty serious. What exactly is Lyme disease?
So it's basically this bacterium sexually transmitted through ticks, and it affects people differently, like very differently. So it's, I think one of the biggest problems with it is it's tough to diagnose. So lots of cases go undiagnosed and stuff
I
like
see.
that, and then it can manifest as really mild symptoms like a flu for 2 weeks, like little things like that. So, and then
Gotcha.
I think if it goes untreated, it has the potential to get worse over time.
Mhm.
But I was lucky; they caught it right away. So,
Well, congratulations.
yeah.
Is camping and like outdoors something that you've come to take as a hobby?
Oh, not anymore. um, no, I'm kidding. I used to love camping for sure and outdoor stuff. Um, haven't really done much recently though. I think I think also as you grow older, the thought of sleeping on the ground becomes less
Appealing,
interesting, appealing. Yeah,
just
we
like
went. I
prefer
think
the comfort of a nice bed.
yeah. The most recent camping trip, my airbed just deflated completely throughout the
Oh, that
night.
sucks.
It was awful. That was about 2 years ago. I haven't tried it again since, but that crossed it out completely. Mhm.
So you've also mentioned your siblings. How's your family been?
They've been good. My sister's was scheduled to start university this fall, and
Mhm.
still is, but
Yeah,
online, so it's gonna be weird.
but yeah,
But
much different sort of environment.
she's just so she's doing things like buying a desk for her room. That's kind of that's the activities.
Great
um,
O week task.
yeah,
Assemble
yeah,
this desk from
that's
IKEA.
exactly that's literally what she's doing. And I think they have Zoom calls and stuff to get to
Mhm.
know fellow students. So
uh, what a weird time to sort of be growing up. I
I know, yeah, weird.
I can't imagine. Um,
Hmm.
but the kids are resilient these days. They'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Hopefully it clears up eventually.
Mhm.
I mean, she's going to UW, and the UW orientation week wasn't too great. So
Um, so yeah, so I don't recall your sort of sexual identity being like apparent to me when we were talking pretty frequently. What was that sort of like a bit more of like a coming out story for you?
not even. I feel like I don't know. I didn't really think too much about it.
Mhm.
Um, I told a couple of friends, but then I don't labels it. They work for some people. For me, I don't really care
Fair
too
enough.
much about it. But yeah, yeah, it was nothing too much.
Cool.
My parents, I didn't even tell them. I was just like, "Oh, I'm dating Derek," and they were like, "Cool." That was it.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess I was
No,
lucky.
yeah, no conflict there.
No conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty chill.
That's most commonly what I associate you with. So like having it come down from the parents makes sense. You're a
Yeah.
chill guy, Cheke.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what is a problem or worry that you've had? that you've either gotten over or are still like sort of handling today?
A problem?
Yeah, like any sort of like mental or physical struggle, like social, whatever, anything at all in that sort of area.
I don't think I have anything too bad. Um, Being pretty lucky. I mean, I have down days, but
Mhm.
everyone has
Oh, for
those.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. I
The
um,
no UW blues during your academic years.
Not really. Honestly, I was very lucky to be surrounded by lots of friends who are still like super close. And, like
Mhm.
I hung out with Mark and Najim and Amber and Peter and Nolan,
Oh
and
yeah,
so I was very fortunate to have all. So I was always surrounded by friends, and yeah, so that was good.
oh yeah. That
Especially
process
because a
becomes
lot
a
of
lot
us,
easier.
yeah, a lot of us were in the same program, like at the beginning, so
Yeah.
we were able to, just lots of support. So that was good.
Are you still in Kitchener Waterloo, or did you move out to Guelph for your job?
No, I'm still in KW. Guelph, it's like right, my work's right on the edge of Guelph, so the commute's only like 20 minutes.
I
So
see.
it's totally fine. But yeah, probably going to move to Kitchener at some point in the next couple months
Hmm.
with
Eh,
Derek. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, that'll be fine.
Uh, the market is it's pricey, so
Oh
I wish
God,
you the
it's
best of
so
luck.
bad. I know. We've been looking and like probably just renting for at least a year before I want to buy a place.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, it's ridiculous. I was
Uh,
looking. Sorry.
you go ahead.
When we, like in 2007, I remember my family rented an apartment because we had just landed in Canada. Essentially, it
Mhm.
was like our first apartment, and I looked at it now. It's still on listings and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's double the price. Double, not
much
1.5,
much inflated,
twice.
much more than the wages have been.
I know, like it's
So
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Mhm.
As a lifelong Kitchener resident, man, I wish I had more money. What I was gonna say was that I'm actually planning on moving out of my current space
Right.
in about a month from now. So
Nice.
listen, if you want to look for a listing, this place has 3 bedrooms, uh, nice kitchen and stuff. It's a good space.
Nice.
I
Right, because
highly
you
recommend it.
you were living with Marco?
Yep, Marco and his brother.
Nice. And then you're gonna
Uh,
move out.
yeah, we're moving to Waterloo to a bigger space because this place cannot contain the 3 of us in a comfortable way.
Nice. Whereabouts in Waterloo?
Sort of like northern Waterloo, like northeast Waterloo, so like Bridge Street area,
Okay.
um, like Bridget University, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, because I live pretty much right at King and Columbia right now, so it's pretty
Oh
close.
yeah, I think I remember you being there.
Yeah.
Same place from so many years ago.
Well, not really. I think we moved in here in 2015,
Yeah, I got you.
right after school. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Uh, Coming into this episode, what were your expectations?
Well, I've listened to a few of the previous ones.
Hey,
They were
thank
pretty
you.
good. I just assumed they'd go relatively similarly.
I'm in
Everyone just.
a
Mhm.
I'm in like a mindset where I want to just like shake things up, but I don't exactly know how. Uh,
Yeah, it's funny because all the ones that I've listened to, I think they just end up being following the same kind of, what's the word?
Formula pattern.
Yeah, I guess because
Yeah.
I guess the people like these are conversations you haven't had, people you haven't spoken to in a while, and
Hmm.
then it's just catching up, and then you.
And then I fumbled the ending.
What?
and then I fumbled the ending because I don't know how to like close things
No,
out.
no, the endings are great.
Thank
But
you.
I was actually thinking, have you thought about an outro?
Ooh, I've not thought about an outro.
Because you have an intro, which is pretty great, and then intro and
Hmm.
outro.
I may just take like the sort of last line of the same song that I ripped the intro off of and just be like,
Yeah,
yeah, this will come together nicely.
yeah, yeah. And then maybe other podcasts and like this podcast is brought to you by
Ooh,
blah blah blah.
I'm not well off enough to start having ads.
Well, no, just be yourself.
Ah, gotcha. the, this podcast was hosted by me. It was engineered by me,
Exactly.
with additional credits to me and my parents for making me.
Nice. There you go.
Nailed it. I'll take that advice into consideration. Uh, did you have any questions for me before we move on here?
I feel like I actually know quite a lot about you now from the other
Yeah,
podcasts. Yeah.
it's a nice little package. I did think about like making a sort of episode 0 to the show where it was just going to be like myself talking about how my life has been throughout. Well, I guess the entirety because apparently my reach of friends goes as far back as grade 6, and that's a long time ago these days.
Yeah. Ugh. I guess, yeah, one question I had was like you've been doing this podcast now. You have a substantial amount of episodes, I'd say. Lots of people
Yeah.
you've spoken to. Have you noticed anything like in common, recurring themes, anything?
Uh, there are quite a few people who sort of share the same like academic history that I've had, where
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was basically after graduating university where people are just like, man, university was pointless. Granted, there you know a fair amount of people who have had the opposite effect, where university prep them for their careers that they're currently engaged in.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of disconnect basically aligns with people who got a job in field or out of field, or just like uh, sort of entry level positions where you know the requirement says have like a 4 year degree in basically anything, versus like the sort of specialization of uh, their schooling. Um, so it does feel it feels good to not be like sort of alone in that mentality, and like
Yeah, yeah.
the sense that like did I do something wrong, where it's just like no, like life is just tricky.
Yeah, it's just the whole system, I feel like, flawed a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
uh and yeah, more people have started playing video games during quarantine, which allows me to
Yeah,
connect with them a little better. For
myself
sure.
included.
Yeah. um that's pretty much it. The sort of two major themes that I've come across.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool.
Also, people are just like, there's a general sort of apprehension to coming on the show, and then it goes away pretty quickly once you get talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was definitely apprehensive for sure.
I'm like 23 episodes in, and I'm still just like, oh god, what if I say something wrong? But yeah, getting better. Uh, a big part of the reason why this podcast exists, other than getting to getting to getting myself reacquainted with my pals, is just like me getting better at speaking.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because historically, I've in like group settings, I've just been like off to the side, listening intently, and then putting in like a one liner every now and again. But
Mm-hmm. Same. That's pretty much me.
to help sort of drive a conversation is something that like I had very minimal experience in. I was just like, man, I need to work on this, especially if I want to like start dating and like have conversations with people. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. It's been good for that.
No, I feel like from listening to your previous episodes, you definitely do a really good job of keeping it keeping it going,
Oh
And
yeah, thank
yeah,
you,
I have noticed that. So doing good, Chris.
thank you. I need as much validation as I can get these days. um,
Yeah, I was actually talking to Peter a couple of weeks ago, and I told him about. I was like, we're gonna do this podcast,
yeah.
and then I voiced some of my concerns. I was like, what if I can't think of something to do? And then Peter too he was like, no, Chris is pretty good at keeping the conversation going, and
Fun
so
fact: I have
yeah.
Peter coming up on a recording on Wednesday.
Oh, nice, perfect.
uh, Determining like the sort of like the guest list is like a weird thing because just like do I want to like just go sort of like friends of friends that I just had on because that's like an easy way to sort of like think of people, or do I want to just like shake things up a bit? Uh, so yeah, I thought about asking Peter like yesterday, so I fired off a message. And he said yes, so looking forward to that.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
Cheke, what?
because yeah.
Sorry, you had something to
No,
say.
no, no. Go
I
ahead.
was about to
I
move
forget.
on. Okay.
Let's move on.
Cheke, what is something that you are currently passionate about?
Ooh. Hmm. Passionate. um, I know you and Mark talked a lot about this, but I am also quite passionate about board
Hell
games.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. I feel like lots of people that I know became really passionate about board games all at the same time.
Yeah, there
I'm
was
not
like a
sure.
giant wave
Yeah,
like a
I
few
know.
years back.
I was definitely
Uh,
part of that wave.
mhm. And then like all the board game cafes popped up in town. You
Yeah,
got like Crossroads
ridiculous.
games on Tap Adventures Guild and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, so I definitely play a lot of board games. Passionate about building a board games collection.
Ooh. How much? How far into it are you? What's your count at?
Numbers of board games
Yeah.
that I've played.
That you currently have in your collection.
Not even that much, honestly. They're really expensive, but
Yes, yes, they are.
I would say about 20 maybe.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
And being at King in Columbia, you're not too
Yeah,
far away from J&J's and stuff.
J
So
and
that's
J's. Yeah, it's such a great shop.
hell yeah, dude.
Couple weeks ago, I was there on three different occasions in the same day in two different cars.
What what the heck?
and like I didn't place the order, so like I placed one order,
Hmm.
and then Derek placed. So I don't know if you're familiar with the online ordering
I
system,
have
which is
never taken part of it.
yeah,
What's that
because of
like?
COVID.
Yeah, for
Yeah, it's
sure.
pretty good. So you just email them the game that you want to buy, and then they email you back, and then you e-transfer them, and then they're like, just come park outside, give us a call, we'll put it in your trunk.
Nice.
So
That's a good
essentially,
system.
I did that, drove there. I was in the driver's seat, and the guy comes out, puts it in the trunk, and then like I think later on in the day, Derek had also ordered again. But we drove there in his car. I was in the passenger seat. Same guy comes out. And then later on the same day, my mom had ordered the game. She's like, can we go pick that up? And I was like, sure. So I was just wondering if the person noticed that I was in three cars in the same day, just picking up games. It's pretty funny.
Just be like, long time no see.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I wonder if you noticed, and if you did, that might have been weird.
Yeah,
But it's quite easy to not notice
for
also.
sure.
But yeah.
So what are some standout board games in your collection or ones that you've played?
um, Over the past year, I'd say Sight has been a big one. I
Hmm,
don't know if you've heard of Sight.
I have not.
It's good. It looks intense at first, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy.
What's the sort of
It's
formatting of it?
It's kind of it's definitely engine building for sure, but it also has various different aspects to it. Like there's combat and there's a lot of player interaction, but there also doesn't need to be player interaction. So I feel like it ticks a lot of boxes, and you can kind of make it into what you want. There's also like cooperative modes and non-cooperative
Mhm.
modes. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So you've said that you've taken to sort of co-op video gaming lately. Is that your preferred type of board game as well, or are you more of like a sort of competitive, like multiplayer type of board game player?
With video games, I think I'd rather play cooperative video games, mostly because I'm not that great at video game
Mhm.
playing. I'm not that great at board games either, but board games I find it better to be competitive. I feel like it's just more engaging.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like I know a lot of people who started to get into video games uh, who don't have like the sort of gaming muscle memory to
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of go to sort of fend for themselves. So they definitely gravitate towards a more cooperative style.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I feel like there haven't been that many cooperative board games that like I feel like that's still new in terms of board gaming.
Mhm.
There are a few good ones, but most board games I'd say are more geared to competitiveness.
Yeah. Cheko, what would you say have been some of the biggest changes in your life since we last spoke? Obviously, you've met a partner.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a
that's
big change
that's
for
generally up
sure.
there.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Definitely being in a relationship was a huge difference, huge upgrade, I would say.
Mhm.
But yeah, different, very different. um, what else? I feel like going to work every day. That's well, since we last spoke, it was
Yeah,
university, so transitioning from student life to just corporate lifestyles
yeah.
being a little different. Um,
Does it does it still feel jarring to like know that you're 27, 28, whatever, and like have a job, like you're in full adult mode.
I know, and then you're asked to do things, and like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure I
Yeah.
should be doing this by myself? Like, someone gonna review
Absolutely.
it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The having my work get reviewed is something that I wish happened more often, because I'm just like, oh god, did I mess this up?
Mm-hmm.
Am I gonna end up being like handling one of those cases that someone takes to the media?
Oh God.
Most terrifying thing.
Yeah. Because you said you got a promotion recently?
Yep. So the claims director worded it as a promotion. I think of it as more like basically a side grade. Like my annual salary goes up by a whole $1,000, which is like
Yeah,
not anything. But I do get to work from home, which is nice.
that is good. Yeah, because
Um,
you said you
yeah,
were
I was
going
having to
into
travel to
work.
the office,
Mhm.
and when carpooling, still kind of like annoying. But when the driver of the carpool no longer is able to, or is like on vacation, then I take the bus for like an hour and 20 minutes, which was an absolute pain in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I get to work from home and I get to like sleep an extra hour every day, which is super nice.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so now I'm like handling claims adjudication, and like making decisions on claims people submit,
Ooh.
uh, which is which is stressful, for cases that are like more complex, and then like the cases that are pretty like down the middle,
Yeah.
are managed much more easily.
Yeah. So what sort of insurance is it? Health insurance?
So it's travel medical.
Okay.
So like when people go abroad and they need to purchase like medical insurance, that's what Allianz does, and also handles like sort of technical claims. So, um, like purchase protection, extended warranties, truck cancellation is a big one this year, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any crazy COVID related cases that were?
Nothing too crazy because the sort of group of claims that I'm like trained to handle is pretty narrow. Where it's just straight up like they canceled their trip and it was either
Yeah.
like before or after the advisory and go for it. I think like I've seen a couple of sort of crazier cases where someone was already abroad when the advisories went into effect, and then they just like couldn't come home for like 2 months because no
Right.
flights were happening in or out of whatever country they went to. I'm just like, oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change the claim type on this thing and then send it to someone else to handle who has the training.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
fun. I look forward to sort of broadening
Hmm.
my knowledge on that sort of thing though.
Because I've heard that working in insurance can be quite stressful. I don't know. That's kind of like the stereotype I've heard of.
Yeah. For me, it hasn't been like so much stressful as it has been annoying because there's like some restrictions on the communication where like we as examiners are allowed to have with the client where like I want to just be able to email the client say, hey, this is what we need, thank you, as opposed to like these other channels of communication that they have to jump through. I'm just like, this is a terrible experience, but also like I'd like to think the company knows this is not a fun experience to like have
Yeah.
them have to call us instead of us being able to reach out as like the first email of the thread.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, there are definitely times where even when I was working in the mailroom, I just like the influx of mail that was like sort of seasonal put a lot of stress on people because we had to meet targets and stuff, and like get through all the mail in a day. And sometimes that's just like an absurd number that is mathematically like unsound.
Yeah. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. And just like the sort of general stresses of like a corporate culture where it's just like, here's your quotas, here are your targets, hit
Yeah.
them, please.
Deadlines. Yeah.
Yeah. All that sort of thing. All that fun stuff that,
So much fun. Yeah.
yeah, that you get to experience as an adult. Uh, so obviously, big story of 2020, quarantine. Um, as you've mentioned, you've taken up video games. Is there anything else that you sort of done to preoccupy your time that is new, or how did you preoccupy your time before quarantine? That is transferred in.
Well, honestly, my work schedule didn't really like. I was never in quarantine
Mm-hmm.
as such because we were essential.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the site like my work produces, I think it's like 93% of Canada's cold and flu
Wow.
medication. So we were more busy than usual. But then, so yeah, I've essentially just been working. I haven't really had the, I guess, pros and cons of being quarantined, but definitely seeing my family being working from home and stuff like that. And then
Gotcha.
I'd just be the only person going to work every day, which was not so much fun.
Have there been were there any sort of like measures implemented at your workplace because of COVID, or did like literally nothing change? Because I imagine that like there's sort of uh, like quality control environment in place where
Mm-hmm.
people are coming in and getting some kind of sterilization.
um, so essentially, everyone who could work from home did work from home, and
Mhm.
only the essential people at the site stayed on. So we have a huge production facility. So obviously, everyone there stayed in, stayed at work, and then the labs and quality control has to be on site. So we were
Mhm.
on site. But so I think we were down to like almost half our capacity. So we had more space
Nice.
in the building. So we pushed out a lot. My shifts, like we had to work shifts at one point to kind of like
Mhm.
separate the different groups.
Yeah.
So the lab, for instance, we were split into two distinct groups that never crossed paths with each other, kind of thing, which was annoying because I had to work like 10 hours, and then it was I also had to work Saturdays for a period of time, but
Yeah.
since then we've moved back to a regular week, which is nice. But it was weird having to like come in and leave like exactly the right time because
Mhm.
there needed to be like gaps where there was no one in the facility and it would get disinfected and stuff. So having to like schedule your work to be done exactly at a certain time was tough. Um, but yeah, other than that, no major impacts. And I think now it's a lot better now,
Mhm.
getting into the groove of things. And the first couple of months were a lot of
Oh yeah, those first couple months, I
yeah,
think pretty much everyone was just like a lot of trial and error and figuring out
yeah,
like what the
exactly.
best practices were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well,
but other
sounds
than
like a
that,
hoot.
oh yeah. Other than that, not much. Been trying to do a lot of hiking, like walking more often. That's not something I used to do a lot of. Like I would do other exercises, but walking was never one of them. But it's definitely like given, I think not just me, everyone in Canada a chance to like explore the outdoors and
Mhm.
go on hikes and stuff, discover your neighborhood, things like that.
You going on just like trails in Ontario then?
Yeah, try to do that.
Any standouts?
Uh, Honestly, like I'm so tired of all the trails in KW. I don't even want to go on them anymore.
It's time to broaden your reach. Hit up
Yeah, yeah,
Hamilton.
yeah. The
Hit
waterfalls
up the
and stuff.
north.
Mm-hmm. Been to Algonquin a couple of times. It's nice up there.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about you?
Uh, my quarantine has been a lot of like sort of bonding with people that started get back into gaming, just as a thing to do. It provides a nice like sort of backdrop, and uh, it's gotten more competitive than I imagined it when it started. We're like, yeah, just like a bunch of people that are generally competitive. Like a lot of the people that played Ultimate Frisbee, a lot of people on that team from the Cameron days, they still have like that sort of fire within them to just beat other people, which is in the online gaming world, it's a dangerous thing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's fun watching. Uh, so at my house, we have like quiet hours basically. So like 10 p.m. is when a lot of people have free time, but that's also when I like can't sort of be as active on the mic and stuff because like on the other side of the wall behind my computer is like someone trying to get to sleep.
Right.
So I have been called out for my loudness that late into the night. Um, but I do just like sort of watch them play on Discord and like help with strategy or like any sort of feedback. And it's nice to watch my boys get a W. You know.
Nice.
Um, then there's of course the NBA that started their bubble during quarantine. Raptors tied things up yesterday. It's been fun. It's been a lot of very good basketball. I think even when the season started, I didn't think there would be like the parity would be as even as it is shown to be. Because like certain teams were just kind of dominating everything, but we're seeing some upsets here and there, and it's very exciting.
Nice.
And what else? Oh, I got my first like actual match on dating apps that materialized into dates, which is fun.
Ooh, what? That's
Uh,
amazing.
a real hell of a time to for this to start happening.
Right?
Um, and yeah, it's been delightful going on those just to essentially make a new friend of sorts.
Yeah.
Um,
What dating apps have you been using?
uh, I was primarily using Bumble because like I've always viewed Tinder as sort of more hookup-y, which is like not my
Yeah.
primary concern, and also the added pressure of me having to initiate conversation most of the time, where like as a guy, like as a straight male, from what I understand, um, like it's a it's a woman's market basically. Like
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like off times, women are very much in control of the sort of sexual marketplace or relationship marketplace, where if I don't come in with a killer opening line, I may as well have just like not been swiped right on at all.
I
Uh,
know. Yeah,
yeah,
it's terrifying.
I've started to think about it less and less, but definitely like when I started using the dating apps, that was like at the forefront of my mind. And then to like not get too disappointed and like depressed about the fact that I'm not matching, it was just like we're just gonna have a fixed number of matches per day, or like swipes per
Hmm.
day, and then that'll be it. We'll be done with the app for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. One of my coworkers, not at my current place, in my previous job, she was on Tinder all the time, and then we would play this Tinder game where she opens up her Tinder and just sees how many matches she gets, and literally every I forget if it's left or right when you accept or like
To
when
the
you're
right.
interested to the right. Yeah. So every time she swiped right, it would be a match. Like it'd be like
Yeah.
99.9% of the time. It was just ridiculous. So that's the other side of the picture. Uh, so to
Yeah.
live on the other side. Yep.
Yeah. Like the other side has it where it's just like, yeah, there's just gonna be a million matches, so like you have to stand out somehow, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. And then it's just you can't ever talk to all those matches.
Hmm.
It's just like yeah, it's definitely flawed.
Yeah. It's good to understand both perspectives for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and also just like I don't know how to market myself because there's not a whole lot I do in my day to day life. Um, so like luckily since I started doing the show during quarantine, I could add like podcaster to my profile and be like, people like doing podcast or people like listening to podcasts, right?
Hmm.
Except like the podcast that most profiles I've seen uh, post are just like, yeah, a lot of people are just into sort of serial killer podcasts. I'm just like, well, that's not this in the slightest. Or
Have
is
you?
it?
Oh God. What other podcasts do you listen to?
Primarily comedy podcasts.
Okay.
In fact, I may go as far as to say exclusively comedy podcasts. Uh, I, I think I posted like a schedule on like a Discord somewhere about like my listening habits through the week. But basically, like Monday, there's a podcast called Comedy Bang Bang, which is very popular. How Did This Get Played, which is about video games that are bad or weird. Um, the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast. It's just like some nice interviews with Conan O'Brien and like some celebrity, which is always fun. LA podcast, I think, is the only podcast I listen to that isn't comedy. Um, but in a sense, like the political world of LA is it's so weird that there's going to be times where it's just like that's
That's
absolutely
hilarious. Yeah.
laughable. Then also Culture Kings, which is just sort of about pop culture. Then on Tuesday, there's a podcast called Hollywood Handbook, which is like 5 levels of irony as a podcast. And then a Patreon subscription that I have has a release on Tuesdays.
Nice.
Wednesday is the pro version of Hollywood Handbook, which is just like a bonus episode that they do that I also pay for. Dunktown, which is about basketball from two hosts that up until last season when they started the show had very little interest in basketball, but started to get into it. Thursday's podcast is something called Doughboys, which is about chain restaurants. The Flagrant Ones, which is about basketball again, but also from the host of Hollywood Handbook, and it's also behind a Patreon. I think I give like $15 a month to people for 4 episodes of podcasts, and I'm happily doing it, which is like the most questionable use of money that I've had.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, supporting
Oh yeah,
creative
they
endeavors.
I believe they absolutely deserve more success in the world.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
because like a lot of these podcast hosts are people that were working in the entertainment industry that may not necessarily have the sort of success of like like a 10-year running sitcom and stuff, but like are still very funny and talented, and I enjoy their work.
Yeah, yeah,
And then Friday is basically like when new music releases, so I just kind of like ride those out into the weekend, and that's my media consumption for the week for my ears.
that's a lot. Nice.
Yeah, I keep busy on podcasts.
Yeah, yeah. I try to listen to podcasts usually at work
Mhm.
when I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
I usually save them for the end of the day, and I save all my easier tasks, and then I can just tune out for the last 2 hours. And
You enter that flow state. You get to focus
yeah,
on
yeah,
like your body's doing one thing, but your mind's just focused on a podcast. It's like, yeah,
exactly.
I didn't need to pay attention to this.
Yeah, so I try to keep at least an hour every day. It's just I look forward to it all day long. I'm just like,
It's always good to have something to look forward to.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just nice. And then queue up your podcast. You have like a nice easy task. And then,
Uh, so, Cheka, as a listener of the show, you know this question is coming. If you were to host your own version of this show where you reconnect with your old friends, who is someone you'd like to have on? You've been in Canada for a bit now. Um,
mm-hmm.
anybody's back in anybody's back in Sri Lanka that you want to catch up with?
Well, that brings me back to a question for you, actually,
Ooh, do
because
tell.
like, where do you see this podcast? Like, would you only be talking to people that you had some sort of relationship
Yeah.
with? Like, how do you see yourself branching out to people who you haven't really spoken to before? But
So
you,
so in my biggest creative brain, the way that I would approach this to like sort of grow as a podcast would be to expand to sort of like celebrities who have like either retired or like fallen out of the limelight. It doesn't have to be like big celebrities. It could be like the front men of pop punk bands I listened to as a kid that like may not necessarily do music anymore and like retreated into whatever like professional life. That was the one sort of like branching like growth uh, path that I was thinking of when I had started doing this, because yeah, there's like a lot of people that I look to for entertainment as a young man. I just
mm-hmm.
want to know how those people are doing, like what their careers have been like.
Yeah,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, that. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna stick to people I know for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, recently I've been thinking about, um, I think, is it Fitson? Fitson. He,
Yes, that
I've
that's
been
an
hearing,
active man.
yeah, I've been hearing lots of his, mostly through Megan and Peter. I think they hang out with Andrea and Fitson a lot.
Yeah.
And then I see his Facebook posts, and it looks like he does a lot of cool work in the community.
Hmm.
So it'd be cool to know what he's been up to in
Yeah.
KW and stuff.
Like fits into something is someone that I would love to have on, but also like to want to take up his time because
I
like he's
know,
doing all this stuff. I'm just like,
such good
dude,
stuff.
like this podcast is like nothing. It's just like a nice chat.
Right? Yeah.
Though I guess there's probably gonna be a time where like he needs a break, just like a moment to relax. But
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, also the fact that like he's married to Andrea. I'm just like, do I have them on separately? Do I have them on together? Is that like going to be a
Ooh, a
first for me
giant.
as a thing to do?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like a giant thing. That'd be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Um, Also, and then like I know the premise of this is to have people that you haven't spoken to in a long
Hmm.
time on, but then what about people like Akram? He hasn't been on here yet,
True.
and
And
I speak to him a lot, but I
I
would still like to hear him.
I have considered having like sort of milestone episodes where I forego like
Yeah, true.
the people I haven't spoken to and like people that I do speak to, but other people haven't, and just like take in questions from people who have questions for like Eddie Kim. I think is a guy
Hmm.
that a lot of people want to hear about because he has a lot of
Yeah,
dumb
not.
stories. And Akram as well. Um, people probably want to hear how he's doing. So I think I might do that for like the fingers crossed 50th and like 100 episode milestones. Just like getting my cronies in here.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of nice. Another thing that I realized while listening to this podcast, I think I was listening to Mark's podcast
Mhm.
with you, and it was just late at night at work, and I was just all by myself. Mm, The whole building super empty at like 9 p.m. and just listening to these familiar voices it was just really cool. It felt
Oh.
like I was hanging out with friends whilst at work. So, so more friends on that would be really nice for
well,
sure.
I'm happy to have been able to provide that experience for you, and I hope to continue to do so.
Thank you. Yeah, really good.
Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
Mm, Not really. I feel like we've covered a lot of stuff. Um, yeah, nothing's popping to my mind right now.
That's perfectly
Do you
fine.
do you do you have any? So I know you mentioned comedic podcasts that you've been listening to. For
Mhm.
someone who hasn't listened to any, well, like any comedy based podcast, is there a good one that you'd recommend?
Um, I'd say Comedy Bang Bang is like a very easy place to start. They have a huge backlog, like back catalog of things. For the most part, a lot of the episodes are sort of self-contained, so you don't need to worry about like the old
Mm-hmm.
episodes too much. You could just kind of, if you could find like a comedian that you like in the long list of guests that they've had, um, that's that's always like an easy foot to start off of. Um, Granted, I do say that coming from like a comedy sort of fandom. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of improv. So you get to
Nice.
just have a lot of laughs, and yeah, very few misses, a lot of hits.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I keep trying to get into comedy, and I feel like, especially with stand-up specials and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's just tough to find.
Oh yeah.
I find it tough to find someone without any sort of recommendation, and
Mhm.
just yeah. But yeah, I'll
Uh,
check it out.
any episode with Ben Schwartz and Thomas Middleditch are always going to be good. Lauren Lapkus is also a very good guest. Um, they have their own sort of comedy specials available on Netflix, so if you want to just like tune into those, I also recommend doing that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, uh, I will say I'm also going to recommend doing listening to Doughboys if you eat any amount of food. If you've
Oh,
ever
there's so
eaten out
much
at a
food.
restaurant, if you've ever eaten out at a restaurant, I recommend listening to Doughboys. They're listen. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. They're gonna talk about cum sometimes. It's fine. It's a thing that happens in comedy for some reason.
Talk about
Um,
what? Sorry, I missed that.
uh, cum, semen,
Oh,
stuff like
oh
that.
God.
They don't go deep into it, but it's going to be a punchline that gets used. So if you're easily grossed out by something like that, then maybe don't listen to it. But it's still good content outside of that. You get to
Okay.
hear two comedians takes on things like KFC and Taco Bell, Wendy's, stuff that you could easily go to the restaurant after listening if you're having a craving from listening to people talk about it for so long.
So this will just increase my already existent cravings. Is what you're
Oh yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Great.
It's a real test of willpower. Like my room right now has 3 brown bags from Uber Eats that you know, I certainly am not proud to have them there, but they're there,
Hmm.
and uh, I feel some guilt about it.
Hey.
How have your eating habits been during quarantine?
Oh gosh, so bad. I yesterday I downloaded an app to track when I eat bad food because it's getting out of hand. I just immediately put down two crosses for the past 2 days, and yeah, so that's about it.
What sort of measures are you gonna like other than the app and just like keeping track of it? Like, what measures are you taking to sort of fight back against the cravings?
Right now, I'm well as of it's been in my brain for a long time, but haven't really put it to practice. But I feel like if I can convince myself to eat one vegetable or fruit with each meal, that'd be a good starting point.
Hmm.
So that's something I'm gonna
Super strong
try to
starting point.
actively do. Yeah, yeah. Just it could be anything.
Like a single kernel of corn.
Exactly. One baby carrot. um, but yeah, just little things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. COVID's been bad for sure, but
Uh,
I feel like it's everyone. So.
on the flip side of things, what have been your top COVID food indulgences?
Mm. Been getting into wine a lot recently.
Ooh,
So Derek lives in Tilsonburg, actually, and it's about an hour southwest of KW.
mhm.
It's a little town, but it's right in like the Norfolk wine country
I
area.
see.
And his parents are huge wine drinkers, so we've been going to lots of local wineries, which has been really cool.
Nice.
Um, it's not something that I've done before, um, but yeah, I'm starting to get into. I still can't drink red wine, hate it, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's got a real bite to it for sure.
yeah, yeah. So that's probably been an indulgence. Yesterday we went to 3 different wineries, which was fun.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, Cheka, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, same
Uh,
here.
I hope you enjoy your wedding and may it be filled with many, many glasses of wine. Uh, as always, I like to cap off the show with a little section called plugs, where I give my guests a moment to talk about anything that they want to promote, either that they're doing or think is worthy of people's attention. So, Cheka, take it away.
um, Gosh. Well, things that I've been doing that I think everyone should do: play more board games for sure. Listen to more podcasts. I think both very doable during COVID, and get outside.
You heard it here
Yeah.
first. Get outside, folks. It's there's a time where it was super scary. It's fine now. The cases in Ontario have dropped significantly. If you're in America, maybe stay inside for a little bit
Well,
more.
get outside into the wilderness, not with
Gotcha.
people, by yourself.
Get outside where it's far away from other people.
Exactly, exactly.
But yeah, that'll be it for this episode of Hello We Don't Talk Let's Talk. Once again, I thank everyone for watching. I thank Cheko for coming on,
Thanks
and
for having
I'll
me.
see you guys next time.